My presentation is how Bluetooth technology works. So I'm sure everyone here can clearly identify this as the universal symbol for Bluetooth, the wireless technology. Kurt Franklin and Chris Poletti, authors for How Stuff Works, recount in their article titled How Bluetooth Works, published in 2019, that ever since its rise to popularity in the early 2000s, that it's been integrated into almost all products, from your speakers so you can listen to your favorite music, or even from your toaster so nothing never gets burnt again. Bluetooth devices are everywhere. Due to its constant integration, however, a lot of consumers haven't been able to really understand how Bluetooth works and operates. But it's important to understand how it works. Understanding the process of how Bluetooth works can be broken down to three unique sections. Bluetooth operations, Bluetooth range, and Bluetooth security. Bluetooth operations encompasses how devices communicate with each other utilizing radio waves and either using the Bluetooth Classic technology or the Bluetooth Low Energy technology. The Classic technology allows for faster data transfers, and the Low Energy technology, as its name states, saves its battery. Bluetooth range encompasses how the different radio frequencies it uses to achieve different ranges and how it uses frequency jumping to maintain a strong connection. And finally, Bluetooth security examines the types of security measures that are used in Bluetooth devices to protect user data, and they include pairing, encryption, and authentication. With all that being said, Bluetooth doesn't seem as simple as it did a couple of minutes ago, but I will do my best to explain how Bluetooth works. Alright, so to begin, Bluetooth functions very similarly to how Wi-Fi works. They both utilize radio waves to transfer data between each other, but unlike Wi-Fi, Bluetooth doesn't require a router to transmit data and just requires two Bluetooth devices with the Bluetooth capability to form a direct device connection. When the two devices are connected to each other and transmitting data, they utilize radio waves on the 2.4 gigahertz frequency. That basically means every 2.4 seconds, or every second, 2.4 billion waves are transmitted between the devices. And it's why if you've ever turned on your Bluetooth mouse before, it instantly can control the cursor on your desktop. Currently, there are two types of Bluetooth technology available. Bluetooth Classic, which is mainly used for audio streaming, and Bluetooth Low Energy, which is used for sensory and smart devices. Bluetooth Classic forms a point-to-point connection with the devices, and that simply just means that the devices communicate with each other and just each other. The connection process begins when a device is prompted to connect with another device, and in the article titled Introduction to Bluetooth Classic, published on the Argonaut's website in 2020, it details that the only bit of information that's needed for a device is their unique address. And if they've been paired before, they will automatically have each other's information shared in their memories. So once a device knows each other's address and other important information, they can begin a process called paging. It's basically like a conversation between the devices. One device known as the master device begins the sequence by sending a message out with the other device's access code in different frequencies searching for it. While that process is occurring, the receiving device is in page scan mode, which basically means it's searching across the different frequencies for those messages. Once it identifies those messages, it's able to send a message back to the master device, and then a connection is formed. Bluetooth Low Energy works slightly differently compared to the classic version, as it's only meant to transmit short bursts of data rather than sustain a connection. Elliot Nesbo, freelance tech writer and author for the media company Make Use Of, explains in his article, What is BLE and How Does It Work?, published in 2021. When a low energy device wants to be discovered, it broadcasts messages known as packets in a device called in a process called advertising, which contains useful information about the address of the device. While that process occurs, other capable devices, like your watch, your key, will be scanning for those signals, and once it's detected, it will assess if it's a suitable connection. If it is a suitable connection, then they'll connect. The scanning process, though, is usually only triggered by the user, so they can connect to specifically what devices they want to. Some examples of Bluetooth Low Energy devices would be smart door locks, smart appliances, or lighting systems. As your phone briefly connects to them, issues a command, and then it breaks the connection after. Bluetooth. All right. Next, Bluetooth has been assumed to be a primarily short-range technology. But the fact is that Bluetooth can actually connect to devices over 1 kilometer away, which is 3,280 feet or 0.62 miles. This isn't widely known though, as Bluetooth devices like speakers or mouses don't really function properly unless they're close to the device they're connected to, as using a mouse 100 feet away from your monitor isn't truly effective. The drawback of increasing the range of Bluetooth though is that it takes more power, and when most devices that utilize Bluetooth use batteries, you want to save those as long as you can. As mentioned earlier, the radio waves that Bluetooth uses are on the 2.4 gigahertz frequency, but it's actually from 2.4 to 2.483 gigahertz. John P., author for TechWall, explains in his article, Bluetooth Wavelength and Frequency, published in 2018, that Bluetooth utilizes these low power frequencies because the Federal Communications Commission specifically set aside this range for industrial, scientific, and medical use, or ISM. However, what makes Bluetooth special is that it's able to separate this frequency band into 79 different channels which it can transmit data through. Jason Marcel, author for Bluetooth, describes in his article how technology uses adaptive frequency hopping to overcome packet interference, published in 2020. That to ensure connected devices remain connected, a process known as adaptive frequency hopping takes place between the 79 channels. The connected devices will, in unison, while still transmitting data to each other, jump between the channels 1,600 times per second to avoid any interference with other devices using similar frequencies. However, even with this, the adaptive frequency hopping, the connection and the range isn't always stable, as there's a multitude of factors which can affect it, such as receiver sensitivity, transmission power, antenna gain, and path loss. Finally, when Bluetooth was first introduced, data stealing was a pretty common problem which many individuals faced, which led to different versions of Bluetooth being developed, creating stronger security measures. One of the simpler security measures that was implemented by Bluetooth is pairing. Kai Ren, author for Bluetooth, explains in his article, Bluetooth Pairing Part 1, Pairing Feature Exchange, published in 2016, that pairing is performed to establish keys between devices that allow the devices in the future to have each other's address information, other important information that allows them to connect in the future easier and more safely. Additional encryption methods that are utilized to protect data exchange between devices, so when they're paired, no other device can read them. It also can disguise the device's address information, and it can change every couple of minutes so that it can't be tracked to specifically where you are. The final security measure that's utilized is authentication, which prompts the user to enter some kind of code. An example of this would be if you've ever used an Apple TV before. It usually will prompt the user to type in some kind of code. Either it'll put it on the screen or on your phone, and you'll have to type it in. And that way only you and the device you want to connect to can connect to each other. So in conclusion, Bluetooth is a revolutionary technology which has fallen to the wayside due to more flashy and relevant technologies, but understanding each component of Bluetooth and how they work to deliver a wireless connection is equally important. Bluetooth operation is how devices communicate with each other using radio waves and utilizing either Bluetooth classic or low energy technologies depending on the situation. Bluetooth's range is flexible, but it is dependent upon the device's capabilities and any external factors that are present. And finally, Bluetooth security ensures that user data is always protected from being tracked through pairing, encryption, and authentication. So at the beginning of the speech, I asked you if you could successfully identify the symbol, which I'm sure many of you could, but can you identify where it came from? The symbol is actually a combination of two letters of the Nordic alphabet, H and B, which were the initials of the Viking king Harald Bluetooth, who united Denmark and Norway in the late 10th century, which fit the uniting devices theme when they were originally creating Bluetooth, and they immortalized his accomplishments in a rather unique way over a millennium later.